Leela stares at her reflection in the mirror, fingers trembling as she adjusts the heavy gold necklace around her neck. It feels like a collar. Her eyes, normally soft, curious, full of spark, are dull tonight. Around her, the bridal room buzzes with whispers and perfume, women fussing with fabrics and bangles, her mother's voice cutting through it all like the edge of a knife. "Don't cry, Leela," her mother says, tightening the dupatta around her head. "You should be grateful. The Sharma family chose you. It's a blessing. A blessing." That word feels poisonous now. Leela forces a smile, but her chest aches. Outside, the drums are already starting the deep boom that shakes the walls and her nerves. The wedding is happening in less than an hour. Everyone thinks she's lucky, marrying into one of the richest families in Mumbai. No one knows that her heart is pounding with one thought only: I can't do this. Her phone buzzes on the vanity. A message flashes from her cousin Mira. "Everything's ready. Just say when." Leela exhales, her pulse racing. The plan is reckless, dangerous, but it's her only chance. Mira is waiting outside the venue with a cab. In her bag, Leela has a fake ID, a change of clothes, and barely enough cash to reach Pune. From there, she'll disappear. Maybe teach, maybe start over. Anywhere but here. Anywhere but with a man she doesn't love. She glances toward the door. Two bridesmaids chat near the curtain, distracted by selfies. The makeup artist hums to herself. Now it has to be now. She grabs her phone, wraps her shawl tighter, and slips toward the back exit. Her heart hammers in her throat as she moves past trays of sweets, piles of gifts, and servants bustling with decorations. No one notices her, not yet. Then, just as she's about to push open the side door, someone grabs her wrist. "Going somewhere, Leela?" It's Arav, her fiancé's younger brother. His tone is playful, but his eyes narrow suspiciously. Leila's mind blanks. I just needed some air," she stammers. He smirks. "In your sneakers?" Her eyes dart down. She forgot to change back into the bridal heels. Arav's gaze sharpens. Before he can say anything more, a loud crash echoes from the other side of the hall Mare is doing. No doubt the distraction works. Arav turns his head for a split second, and Leela bolts. She sprints down the corridor, her veil flying off, lungs burning. The door slams behind her as she bursts into the alleyway. Mira's cab is waiting, headlights flashing twice. "Go," Leela yells as she jumps in. The car speeds off, the wedding venue shrinking behind her like a dream, dissolving in daylight. She presses her hands to her chest, gasping. She did it. She actually did it. Mira grins. "You're insane," she says, "but I'm proud of you." "Don't say that yet," Leela mutters, looking back. "They'll find out soon." She stares out the window as the city lights blur into streaks of gold and red. Her phone rings a known number. She hesitates, then turns it off. The last thing she wants is to hear her parents' voices. They drive 4 hours before stopping at a quiet roadside motel. Leela's adrenaline begins to fade, replaced by the heavy ache of guilt and fear. She sinks onto the bed, hands still trembling. "What now?" Mira asks softly. "I don't know," Leela whispers, "but I can't go back." That night she doesn't sleep. Her mind keeps replaying her mother's eyes, the weight of the jewelry, the sound of the drums. She wanted freedom, but the world outside feels cold, uncertain. Morning comes with gray light and the smell of rain. Mira scrolls through her phone and curses. "They've posted your photo everywhere," she says. Twitter, Instagram, even local news. They're calling it a runaway bride scandal. Leila's stomach drops. "What? Your fiancé's family is furious. His father's threatening police action. They said you embarrassed them in front of 200 guests. Leila sits frozen. The fear returns sharper than before. "What do I do now?" "You disappear for a while," Mira says. "Somewhere no one will look." They find an online ad from a woman's shelter offering short-term rentals for women in distress. It's in another town, far from the city. Mira books it under a fake name, Riya Sinha. By the time they arrive, Leila is drained, her bridal glow replaced by exhaustion. The place is quiet, almost hidden between hills and old trees. A middle-aged caretaker greets them, kind-eyed and discreet. "You can stay as long as you need," she says. No questions asked. That night, Leila lies awake listening to crickets. Her phone stays off, but her thoughts don't stop. What if they find her? What if the police track her? Then, the next morning, a knock rattles her door. She freezes. "Riya," a man's voice says. "You left something behind." Her heart stops. She looks through the peephole. Nothing, just a shadow. The caretaker's voice follows. "It's okay, dear. He's a guest too." Leela opens the door a crack. A man stands there holding a folded piece of paper. He's tall, maybe late 20s, with sharp features and dark, unreadable eyes. His clothes are casual but expensive, definitely not someone from this quiet place. "You dropped this," he says, holding out the paper. She takes it cautiously. It's a bus ticket, but it's not hers. "I think you've mistaken me for someone else," she says. He studies her for a moment, then nods slowly. "Maybe." He turns to leave, but something in his gaze lingers, like he knows more than he's saying. For the next few days, she sees him around the property, always polite, always distant. He never asks questions, but she feels his eyes sometimes when she's reading or walking to the well. There's something unsettling about him, too composed, too observant. One evening, rain pours hard outside. The power flickers out. The caretaker calls everyone to the main hall where candles are lit. The stranger is there too, sitting quietly by the window. Leela avoids his gaze, but when thunder shakes the building, she flinches and he notices. "You're afraid of storms?" he asks softly. She forces a small smile. "I'm afraid of being trapped." His eyes darken slightly. "Then you chose the wrong place to hide." Her breath catches. "What do you mean?" Before he can answer, the caretaker interrupts with tea. But Lila can't shake the unease that crawls up her spine. That night, she dreams of wedding drums again, only this time, when she turns to see the groom's face, it's him, the stranger. She wakes up in a cold sweat. In the morning, Mira tells her she has to leave for a few days. Lila's pulse hammers as the rain lashes harder, soaking her to the bone. The stranger doesn't move closer, doesn't raise his voice. He just stands there with that maddening calm, as if everything happening is exactly how it's supposed to be. His umbrella tilts slightly, shadowing his face, but the confidence in his stance makes her breath catch. "I'm not going anywhere with you," she says, her voice trembling but defiant. He smirks barely. "You already did, Lila. The moment you signed the papers." Her stomach knots. "What are you talking about?" "Marriage license," he says smoothly. "You signed it this morning, remember?" She blinks confused. "I haven't signed anything." He takes a slow step forward, water splashing around his shoes. "You did when you checked in here. That form you filled out, fake name, false ID, it wasn't a guest register. It was a legal document. You've been very trusting." Her head spins. "That's impossible." "Is it?" he says, eyes glinting. "You ran away from your own wedding only to walk straight into mine." The world tilts. Lila stumbles back. "You're lying." He finally lowers the umbrella, revealing his face fully under the flickering streetlight. Her breath stops. The sharp jawline, the intense dark eyes, the faint scar near his temple familiar. "No," she whispers. "It can't be." "Hello, Mrs. Sharma," he says quietly. It hits her like a tidal wave. He's the groom. The same man she was supposed to marry, the one whose face she'd seen only once in a photo her mother showed her months ago. She thought she'd escaped him, but he found her. Lila shakes her head in disbelief. You set this up, even this place." He nods once. "Did you think a Sharma wedding could be run away from that easily? My father sent people after you, but I came myself. I wanted to understand why the woman I was supposed to marry would rather vanish than face me." His voice isn't angry, it's almost curious, which somehow terrifies her more. "I don't want this marriage," she says sharply. "I never did." "I know," he replies simply, "but it's done now. You signed the papers. You're legally my wife, and I intend to know why you ran before I decide what happens next." She backs away, shivering. "You can't keep me here." "I can," he says calmly, "and I will until you tell me the truth." The wind howls between them. For a moment, neither speaks. The caretaker watches from the doorway, nervous and silent, clearly knowing more than she should. He gestures toward the car. "Get in, or do you want the police to find you first?" Lila's chest tightens. If the police get involved, the scandal will explode again. Her parents, her relatives, everyone will know. She'll be dragged back in disgrace. Reluctantly, she gets into the car. The door shuts behind her with a heavy finality that feels like a cell door closing. They drive in silence for nearly an hour. The city lights fade into countryside darkness. Lila's mind races. Should she jump out, call for help? But something about him, his confidence, his patience tells her he's already thought of every possible escape. Finally, he speaks. "You thought I was some arrogant, spoiled businessman, didn't you?" Lila keeps her gaze fixed on the window. "Does it matter what I thought?" "It does," he says, "because that's the story everyone tells. The truth is a little different." She glances at him. His tone isn't defensive, it's weary, almost bitter. "I never wanted an arranged marriage either," he says quietly. "But my father made it clear. If I refused again, he'd cut ties with my mother's charity, pull funding from her projects, ruin her life's work, so I agreed. Then you ran, and suddenly I became the villain who couldn't keep his bride." His words catch her off guard. It doesn't sound like the monster she imagined. Still, she can't trust him. "So you tracked me down to save your reputation." He glances at her, a flicker of something dangerous in his eyes. "No, I tracked you down because you didn't even give me a chance to know you." The car stops in front of a secluded villa, surrounded by high walls and guarded gates. The place looks like luxury built for silence. Lila hesitates. "Where are we?" "My home," he says. "Our home." Technically, he opens her door but doesn't touch her. "You can leave if you want, Lila, but understand this: if you walk out into a world already hunting you. The media, my father, your family, they all want their story. And they'll get it, with or without your side." She clenches her fists. "So you're saying I'm trapped?" He smiles faintly. "I'm saying you have choices. You just might not like any of them." Inside, the villa is quiet, modern, and almost sterile. Marble floors, soft lighting, no trace of warmth. A few staff members greet him respectfully but avert their eyes when they see her. Lila can feel their whispers following her down the corridor. "That's her," someone murmurs. "The runaway bride." He leads her into a room, a spacious suite with a balcony overlooking rain-soaked gardens. There's a suitcase on the bed, already unpacked with her clothes. She spins toward him. You went through my things. I had them brought here, he says simply. You left most of them behind. Her voice shakes. You had no right. I had every right, he says, stepping closer. You're my wife. She glares at him. You think a piece of paper makes that true? He pauses. No, but it gives me the right to ask why the woman who was supposed to stand beside me ran away like I was a monster. The anger in his tone flickers for the first time. Not rage hurt. Genuine, controlled hurt. Lila's throat tightens. Because I didn't want to be another deal in a business meeting. I didn't want to marry someone chosen for me like property. He nods slowly, absorbing her words. Then maybe you should have met me before deciding who I was. There's silence between them. Rain taps softly against the window. Finally, he sighs. You'll stay here tonight. Tomorrow we'll talk again. If you still want to leave after that, I won't stop you. Lila doesn't believe him, but she's too exhausted to argue. He leaves, and the door clicks shut. She hears the lock turn. The next morning, sunlight spills through sheer curtains. The tension in her chest hasn't faded. She tests the door, it's unlocked. Maybe he meant what he said. She walks through the villa, every hallway echoing with quiet wealth. Then she finds a study lined with books, papers, and photos. On the desk, a folder labeled Project Phoenix. Curiosity gets the better of her. Inside are plans for a massive hospital development in rural India. Documents show years of funding battles, many signed by her husband himself. She frowns. This isn't a selfish businessman. This is someone fighting for something real. Then a voice behind her says, "You're early." She spins. He's standing in the doorway, coffee in hand, watching her. "You really shouldn't snoop," he says calmly. "I wasn't." He raises an eyebrow. "You were." Her cheeks flush. "You're not what I thought you were." "Neither are you," he says quietly. The girl who ran from her wedding doesn't look guilty. She looks scared. Lila looks away. "You wouldn't understand." He steps closer, lowering his voice. "Try me." Something about his tone, the mix of challenge and sincerity, disarms her. She doesn't want to trust him, but the walls she's built begin to tremble. Before she can respond, his phone buzzes. He checks it, and his expression hardens instantly. "They found out where you are," he says. Her blood freezes. "My father." The media's moving fast. They've got photos of this villa already. Someone leaked it. He grabs his jacket. "You're not safe here anymore." She stares at him, terrified. "Then what do we do?" He looks up, jaw set. "We run." Lila blinks. "What?" He meets her eyes. "You wanted to escape your arranged marriage. Congratulations." The villa gates slam behind them as the car accelerates into the storm. Wind tears through the trees, and flashes of light cut across the road like camera flashes. Lila clutches the seatbelt, heart pounding, while awe of her husband, though she still can't say the word, keeps his eyes fixed on the winding highway ahead. "Where are we going?" she asks over the roar of rain. "Somewhere my father's reach won't find us," he replies. For now, no questions. Lila's mind spins. Less than 48 hours ago, she was a bride trying to escape him. Now she's sitting next to him in a car that feels more like a getaway vehicle than a limousine. "Did you know they'd find us?" she asks after a moment. Arif's jaw tightens. "Eventually, my father doesn't lose, so what happens when he catches up?" He glances at her, eyes steady. "Then we stop running." Together, the word together echoes louder than the thunder outside. Hours pass before the city lights vanish completely. The landscape turns wild, mountains rising in the distance, mist coiling around them. Lila doesn't know how long they've been driving until exhaustion forces her eyes shut. When she wakes, the car is parked outside a small cottage on a hillside, half hidden by trees. No guards, no cameras, no marble walls, just rain, wood, and silence. "Where are we?" she whispers. "A friend's place," Arif says, getting out. "No one knows it exists. You'll be safe here." He opens her door, rain dripping off his hair and coat. His movements are efficient, practiced. He's not panicking, he's planning. Inside, the cottage is warm and surprisingly cozy. A single lamp casts soft light across worn wooden furniture. There's a faint scent of cinnamon and firewood. Lila stands near the doorway, still clutching her bag like a shield. "You shouldn't have brought me here." He turns to face her. "Would you rather they drag you back in handcuffs?" She flinches. He sighs and softens his tone. "You wanted freedom, Lila. This is the only way you'll get it for now." He disappears into the kitchen, returns with 2 steaming mugs of tea, and sets one in front of her. "Drink, you'll need it." She hesitates, then takes it. "You act like you've done this before." He gives a small smile. "You'd be surprised what growing up in my family teaches you." They sit in silence for a while, listening to the rain. Lila studies him quietly, the way his fingers drum against the mug, the tension in his shoulders, the occasional shadow crossing his face. He's not the arrogant stranger she imagined. There's depth in him, pain even. Finally, she breaks the silence. "Why didn't you just let me go? You said you didn't want this marriage either." He looks at her for a long time before answering. "Because I don't believe in running from something without understanding what I'm running from. And because I saw your eyes that day, Lila. You weren't scared of me. You were scared of what everyone expected you to be." Her breath catches. She doesn't know how to respond to that. Later, when she finally drifts off to sleep on the couch, she dreams of her old home, the noise, the rituals, her mother's voice telling her to smile through everything. And then she dreams of Arev's face, the way he looked at her, not like property but like a puzzle he wanted to solve. She wakes in the middle of the night to find the lights off and the cottage quiet except for the sound of voices outside. She peeks through the window. Arev is on the porch, speaking to someone on the phone. His tone is low but urgent. No, don't send anyone. If he tracks the signal, we're done. Pause. Yes, I know what I'm risking. Her heart skips. Who's he talking to? When he comes back inside, she pretends to be asleep, but his footsteps stop near her. She can feel his gaze lingering. Then, in a whisper that sends a shiver through her, he murmurs, "You shouldn't have run, Leela. You would have never needed to." The next morning, sunlight filters through the trees. Arev is already outside, chopping wood, sleeves rolled up. Lila watches from the doorway, confused by the mix of irritation and fascination she feels. When he notices her, he wipes his hands and says, "There's food in the kitchen. I didn't know what you liked, so I made everything you cook," she asks, surprised. "Only when I'm hiding from my father's spies," he says dryly. She laughs before she can stop herself, and his eyes soften at the sound. But the peace doesn't last long. The radio crackles suddenly with a breaking news alert. Lila freezes. Runaway bride Lila Kapoor spotted in connection with business heir Arev Sharma, the reporter says. Sources claim the two are on the run together after secret marriage documents surfaced. Lila's cup slips from her hand, shattering on the floor. "They know," she whispers. Arev grabs the radio, switches it off. "They won't stop until we give them a story." "What story?" she demands. "The truth." He shakes his head. "No, a better one." That night they sit by the fireplace, planning. Arev sketches something on a notepad, an idea that sounds insane. "We go public," he says. "We tell them we fell in love secretly, that you didn't run from the wedding, you ran to me. We controlled the story, not them." Lila stares at him, stunned. "You want me to lie to the entire country?" "I want you to survive it," he says quietly. "If the media believes this version, they'll stop chasing you. My father will back off. Your family will calm down. You'll get your life back." She bites her lip, torn. "And you, what do you get?" He looks at her with unreadable eyes. "Time. Time for what? To make you believe I'm not the man you thought I was." Her pulse quickens. The firelight flickers between them, and for the first time, she doesn't look away. The following days are a blur. Arev arranges everything: a press conference, a carefully worded statement, even matching rings. Lila goes along with it because she has no choice. But part of her hates how convincing it all looks. The cameras flash, reporters shout, and she feels his hand slip into hers. The world sees romance. She feels chaos. "Mrs. Sharma, how does it feel to finally be reunited with your husband?" a journalist calls. Lila opens her mouth, but before she can speak, Arev answers smoothly, "It feels like home." The crowd melts at his charm. Lila forces a smile, but her heart is racing. When it's finally over, they get back in the car, surrounded by flashes and noise. Lila exhales shakily. "You're good at pretending." He glances at her. "Are you sure it's pretending?" She looks away, ignoring the heat rising in her chest. That night, they return to the cottage, now safer, quieter. But something has shifted. The distance between them feels thinner, dangerous. As she changes into her nightclothes, she finds him standing by the window, phone in hand. His expression is unreadable. "Who were you calling earlier?" she asks suddenly. "Last night outside." He looks up, caught off guard for the first time. "You were awake," she nods slowly. "Who was it?" "Arev." He hesitates, then says softly, "Someone who knows how to destroy my father." Her heart jumps. "You're fighting him." He meets her eyes. "Always have been." The storm outside rages again, wind rattling the windows. Lila takes a hesitant step closer. "And what happens to us when this is over?" His voice drops low. The world comes back slowly. A dull ache throbs behind Leela's eyes, her body heavy and unresponsive. For a moment she doesn't know where she is. The ceiling above her is concrete, the air thick with the smell of damp metal and disinfectant. When she tries to move, she feels resistance, her wrists bound loosely to the arms of a chair. Panic strikes like a current. "Hello." Her voice is raw, hoarse. "Is anyone here?" Silence answers. Then, footsteps, slow, deliberate. A man in a dark suit steps into the dim light, his face shadowed but unmistakably familiar. "Lila Kapoor," he says smoothly. "Or should I say Mrs. Arev Sharma?" Her blood runs cold. "Who are you?" He smiles thinly. "A man who's been waiting for you to make a mistake." He moves closer, and the light catches his face, sharp, composed, powerful. "Arev's father. I see now why my son disobeyed orders," he says, voice dripping with contempt. "You've made quite the impression." Her breath catches. "Where's Arev?" "Alive," he says simply. For now Leela's pulse spikes. "What do you want from me?" He circles her like a predator. "You made my family a spectacle, a runaway bride, a secret marriage, a scandal that cost me millions in contracts and credibility. But there's a way to fix it. You'll do exactly as I say, and everyone will believe this was love, pure and perfect. You'll stand beside my son, smile for the cameras, and disappear quietly when I tell you to." She glares up at him. "I'm not your puppet." He leans in, his voice cold. "You already are." Before she can reply, the door bursts open. Two men drag in someone between them, disheveled, bleeding from the lip, hands tied. Arav. Leela gasps. Arav. He lifts his head weakly, eyes locking on hers. Don't listen to him, he rasps. Whatever he says, don't. His father's expression hardens. You see, Lila, this is what rebellion looks like. My son thinks he can defy me, that he can throw away everything his family built for a girl who doesn't even know who he really is. Arav spits blood onto the floor. You built an empire on lies, his father snaps. I built it on control. Something you've never understood. He turns back to Lila. You want the truth about your husband? Fine. Ask him about the deal he made before the wedding, the one that tied your family's debts to mine. Lila freezes. What? Arav shakes his head. He's twisting it. Tell her, his father demands. Tell her why she was chosen. Lila looks between them, confusion clawing at her chest. Arav closes his eyes, pain flickering across his face. Your father's business was collapsing, Lila. Mine offered to save it on one condition. The marriage. It was supposed to be a merger, not love. Her heart shatters. So it was a transaction. No, he says quickly. That was before I met you, before I knew who you were. I never wanted that deal to define us. That's why I tried to stop it. But the damage is done. Her throat tightens. You knew, and you let me run anyway. I had to, he says, desperation creeping into his voice. You would have been trapped if I hadn't helped from the inside. I signed things under false names, redirected funds, set up shelters for women forced into marriages like yours, like ours. I was trying to end it, Lila. His father laughs cruelly. A noble story, but it won't save you both. He gestures to his men. Take him away. Lock her in the north wing. No, Lila struggles, but the guards grab her arms. Arav shouts her name as they're separated. The last thing she sees is his face bloodied but burning with fury as the door slams between them. Hours, maybe days, blur together. Lila has moved to a luxurious but windowless room, watched constantly. Meals appear on schedule, her phone gone, her freedom gone. She sits on the bed, staring at the reflection of herself in a mirror she wishes she could shatter. The wedding she ran from has caught her in its sharpest trap yet. Late one night, the door creaks open. A shadow slips in. It's Arav. His face is bruised, his shirt torn, but his eyes, those eyes still burn with the same fire. How did you? Doesn't matter, he whispers, grabbing her hand. We're leaving, but the guard's asleep, he says. I used the emergency system. We have 5 minutes. They move quietly through the hallway, avoiding security cameras. Arav leads her down a service passage she didn't know existed. The hum of electricity and the faint echo of footsteps make every second feel stolen. Finally, they reach a side exit leading to the loading docks. Rain pours outside again, drenching the ground in silver. Lila hesitates. What if he finds us again? He will, Arav says, but next time, we'll be ready. They sprint into the night, soaked and breathless. Somewhere in the distance, alarms begin to wail. They reach a small abandoned station on the edge of town. Arav pulls out a set of train tickets from his pocket, crumpled, damp, but real. How did your cousin helped, he says with a small, strained smile. Mira never stopped tracking your signal. She's meeting us in Delhi. Leela feels a wave of relief. You contacted her. I needed someone I could trust, someone you'd believe in. He looks down at her hand, still gripping his. And I needed a reason to keep fighting. The train arrives with a scream of metal and steam. They board quickly, collapsing into seats near the back. For the first time in days, there's quiet. Lila stares out the window as the countryside blurs by. You risked everything, she whispers. Why? Arav leans back, his voice low. Because I'm done being my father's son, and because somewhere between the lies and the running, I realized I didn't want to lose you. She turns to him. You don't even know me. He meets her gaze. Then let me. The train shakes as thunder rolls overhead. For a moment it feels like the world outside has vanished, just the two of them and the rhythm of escape. But the illusion doesn't last. Halfway through the journey, Lila notices a black SUV following the train along the service road, headlights cutting through the storm, keeping pace. Her breath quickens. Arav, he follows her gaze, swears under his breath. They're faster than I thought. What do we do? He pulls a small flash drive from his pocket and presses it into her palm. If they catch us, you run. Take this to Mira. She'll know what to do. What's on it? Everything, he says. Proof of what my father's done: money laundering, political bribes, human trafficking fronts. It'll destroy him. Her hands shake. You've been planning this all along. He nods once. You think I married you just to save face? No, Leela. I married you because I needed someone strong enough to survive the truth. The train screeches as it enters a tunnel. The lights flicker. Then gunfire, windows shatter, passengers scream. Arav pulls her to the floor, shielding her with his body. Stay down. The train lurches violently, sparks flying from the tracks. Lila feels heat, metal, smoke, and then a deafening crash. Darkness. When she opens her eyes, she's on the ground outside the wreckage, rain pouring over twisted metal. Her head throbs, her ears ring. The flash drive is still clutched in her fist, but Arafi's gone. Lila. Mira's voice cuts through the chaos, distant but real. She's running toward her, soaked, terrified. Lila stumbles to her feet. He was right here. Mira grabs her shoulders. We have to go now. They're coming back. Lila looks one last time at the wreckage. Smoke curling into the night. Somewhere inside, buried under steel and flame, is the man she thought was her captor, the man who might have actually saved her. She forces herself to run, tears mixing with rain. Behind her, sirens wail. The flash drive burns like fire in her hand. The city is awake before dawn, neon lights trembling over slick roads, thunder rolling far away like a warning. Leela sits in the back of a cab with Mira, both drenched, shivering, and silent. The flash drive rests between them like a loaded weapon. Every turn of the tires feels like it's leading them somewhere irreversible. They arrive at a safe house tucked behind a quiet bookstore in Delhi. Inside, the air smells of paper and rain. Mira bolts the door, locking 3 separate latches before turning to her cousin. "You shouldn't have come back," she whispers. "He'll come for you. He always does." Lila drops onto the couch, still trembling. "Arav's alive," she says, as if saying it out loud will make it true. "He has to be." Mira's eyes soften, but there's fear behind them. "Lila, the crash was everywhere. They said no one walked away from the front carriage." Leela shakes her head. "No, he survived before. He'll survive again. He wouldn't leave me. Not now." She clutches the flash drive tighter, feeling the sharp metal edges dig into her palm. "We can't stop. If this has what Arav said it does, we can bring his father down." Mira hesitates, then nods. "There's someone I know. A journalist who's been trying to expose Sharma Enterprises for years. He can decrypt whatever's on that drive." They move fast. Within hours, they're in a dim apartment filled with screens, maps, and stacks of evidence. The journalist, a thin man with a tired face and restless hands, takes the drive and inserts it into his computer. Lines of code flash. Files open: contracts, offshore accounts, encrypted communications between powerful men. Each click uncovers another layer of corruption, each file heavier than the last. Mira stares at the screen, horrified. This is enough to destroy half the government. Leela barely hears her. Her eyes stay locked on one file labeled Project Rebirth. She opens it and her blood turns cold. Inside are surveillance photos of her from months before the wedding. Images of her at cafes, her family's house, even inside her university. She scrolls faster, her heart racing. Emails between Sharma executives, target identified. Family debt in negotiation, Groom informed. Proceed with emotional conditioning. Her breath catches. "He knew," she whispers. "He knew about everything. From the beginning." Mira looks at her, horrified. "Lila." But Lila's mind is spiraling. Arav had claimed he didn't know who she was before the deal, that he'd tried to stop it. But this was surveillance, planning, manipulation. From day one. She stands abruptly, knocking over the chair. "He lied to me. Maybe not all of it," Mira says softly. "Maybe he changed. Maybe that's why he helped you escape." Lila shakes her head, tears streaming down her cheeks. "He played me, used me as a way to bring his father down." Before Mira can respond, the power cuts. Darkness swallows the room. "Stay still," the journalist whispers. "Don't." The door bursts open. A flood of armed men rushes in, faces masked, guns raised. Mira screams. Someone grabs Lila's arm, forcing her down. She kicks, struggles, but a voice freezes her completely. Enough. The lights flicker back on. Standing in the doorway, soaked and bruised but Alivarov, her chest seizes. "You." He steps closer, motioning for the guards to lower their weapons. "They're not here to hurt you." She looks around wildly. "You led them here." "No," he says quickly. "They're mine, not my father's. I've been fighting to get back to you." She stares at him in disbelief. "I saw the files, Arav. You watched me before we ever met. You planned everything." His face falls. "It wasn't like that." "Then tell me how it was." She snaps. "Tell me why my life was turned into a business transaction." He exhales slowly, stepping closer. "Yes, I knew who you were before we met, but not because I wanted to manipulate you. I was trying to protect you. My father had a list of families he targeted through arranged marriages, women he treated like currency. I wanted to stop him, so I volunteered to take one of the deals. I thought if I played along I could find evidence from the inside." Lila's hands tremble. "And I was one of them." His voice breaks. "You were supposed to be another name on his list. But then I met you and everything changed. I fell for you before I even realized how wrong it all was. I wanted to tell you the truth, but I knew you'd never believe me." Her anger fades, replaced by confusion and grief. "You still lied." "I did," he admits, "because I needed time to end it the right way. To make sure no one else suffered what you did." He gestures to the guards. "These are men who lost everything because of my father. They helped me survive the crash. We've been gathering the final files since then." The journalist, still trembling, Stands up. Then you need to see this. He turns the monitor toward Arov, revealing one last document. Your father isn't running anymore. He's planning to vanish. There's a private jet leaving in 2 hours from the old airstrip outside Delhi. He's transferring everything to an offshore account under your name. Arav's expression hardens. He's framing me. Lila steps closer, her voice low. Then we stop him together. For the first time, Arav lets out a breath that almost sounds like relief. You trust me again. She hesitates. Not completely, but I'm done being afraid. They move quickly. Within an hour, they're at the airstrip, rain pouring, wind howling. A private jet gleams under the floodlights, engines whining. Armed guards patrol the perimeter. Arav turns to Lila. Stay in the car. If something goes wrong. She cuts him off. I'm not leaving you again. He nods once, then slips out into the storm. Through the windshield, Lila watches him approach the jet. His father emerges from the shadows, flanked by bodyguards. Even from a distance, she can see the fury in the older man's movements. Their voices rise, echoing across the tarmac. Arav shouts. Something points at the sky. At the evidence drive, his father lunges forward and then, a gunshot